Governor Christie of New Jersey is one of the single greatest friends the American Jewish community has. He is a phenomenal friend of the State of Israel. He was one of the most stalwart voices against the Iran deal, which brought legitimacy to a government that has repeatedly threatened the Jewish people with a second Holocaust and the State of Israel with annihilation. Well, you've been consistent in saying that Iran really is the threat. The rest of the world seems to be focused on ISIS. Why do you think it's Iran?
Well, because when you look over the long term, ISIS is clearly a threat and one that we need to deal with and contend with. But our relationship with Iran is complicating our ability to put together an appropriate coalition to fight ISIS. Add to that the Iranian nuclear capability, add to that the Iranian sponsorship of terrorism, add to that the Iranian attitude towards Israel, add to that the Iranian goal for a Persian empire across the Middle East. You just add up the ledger, and Iran is just simply an enormous threat, and one that makes ISIS worse.
How many were killed in the bombing of the police academy in Libya? 60? I mean, every day. And by the way, I'm Jewish, and so many of these people who are dying are Muslims, and they barely makes the news. They're just being blown to smithereens. ISIS, their brutality, this vile, disgusting organization. You kill Jihadi John, the next day there's another guy with a knife and he wants to chop off someone's head. I mean, this is so brutal and so ugly. Can you fix it?
Well, listen, American strength and resolve and morality is the only thing in the last century and a quarter that has brought peace and stability to the world.
Okay, let's talk about leaders that you consider strong. Is Hillary Clinton strong?
No.
Is she weak?
I wouldn't call her weak. Listen, I've taken to call her Secretary Happy Talk. She said in the debate a couple weeks ago that as to ISIS, we're exactly where we need to be. She's told the veterans in this country that there's no crisis at the Veterans Administration. Go and wait months for care as a veteran and ask if there's really a crisis. I think that unfortunately Secretary Clinton spent too much time around President Obama. She sees the world as she wishes it was. I see the world as it is. That's the difference.
Would you work with Erdogan? And would you recognize the Armenian genocide, which you can't work with Erdogan if you do recognize the Armenian genocide? And by the way, you know that I love Israel. You know the organization supports Israel. Look around. But I've been critical of Israel for not recognizing the Armenian genocide because they thought they could have a relationship with Erdogan. And he's a brutal tyrant and they can't, although he's trying now. Listen,
Turkey is a part of our NATO alliance. And so as the most important nation in NATO, we have to work with Turkey. There's no question that we're going to have to do that. Fact of the matter is, though, that in those type of friendships, you can have the type of conversations you need to have to try to move people if you develop those relationships. And in that sense, I agree with Secretary Kissinger and his view on how we should approach the Turks. The fact is that as part of the NATO alliance, they are integral to our ability to fight terror, but they also are integral to our protection of that area of the world. So we should have disagreements as friends have disagreements and be able to talk them through and try to work with them on it. But no, it would not be a situation where I would just throw my hands up as with Erdogan. He is a challenging figure. But one that I think, given his presence and his country's presence, rather, in the NATO alliance, is one that the president would have to work with. BDS is an attempt to destroy Israel by economic means. That's spreading on campuses throughout the world. It's now, we have goods from Judea and Samaria and the West Bank that are labeled. What would you do to counter, you're a friend of Israel, you're a friend of the Jewish community loves you. What would you do to stop, before we even get to Israel's military security and military hardware, what would you do to stop this global demonization of the Jewish state? Well, first off, as governor, you make sure that you do not give in to any of these issues and in fact speak out against, and we're doing that in New Jersey, to speak out against any of these type of economic sanctions against Israel. And I've worked with our Democratic legislature to get that done. This is not a partisan issue. This is a moral issue. Secondly, you've got to lend your voice to it and speak out strongly beyond the borders of your own state, your own jurisdiction, because this is a national issue for the United States. We need to make sure that people hear the truth.
But how important is the Israel alliance to the United States? Where would you rank Israel in the list of allies of the United States? How high up the ladder is it?
Well, they're our single most important ally. Listen, this president is tougher on Bibi Netanyahu than he is on the supreme leader of Iran. Right? So I said that the only world leader that the president has the guts to speak out against is Bibi Netanyahu. It's kind of extraordinary.
How do you explain that?
I can't. I mean, I've thought about it, Shmuley. I've thought about what's the president's motivation. I really don't know.
Governor, I'm so grateful for you to come, and God bless you. Thank you.